all this bright, shiny energy that I try to bring to everyone, it's not something. It was just a little over a year ago that I really dove into this spiritual evolution of mine, this exploration. And at the same time, I had completely stopped drinking. And it's been, yeah, about a year now. I haven't drinking. I just went cold turkey on it. I never really was a heavy drinker, but I did take a lot of shots. I'd get like 3 or 4 shots throughout every day and shit. But I stopped that. I was in the middle of battling this addiction with a drug that I never intended to be a part of my life. But at the end of the day, the judgment is on me. That doesn't mean that you get to lay judgment on me. That means that whole situation, I was the one who was living it. So no one else gets to dictate or assume with their asses out about what the fuck was going on. I'm the same person that I always have been. I'm a little bit more damaged as far as, I don't even know if I could say that anymore. Sure, I've been damaged by what I've been through, but by all means, I'm not fragile. You think it's easy for me to come out and say some of the things that I said? Like, who am I? How dare I, right? That's the same thing I was told since a young age. Like asking why it mattered if I did that math question a different way than the way they taught it. We both got the same answer. We both reached the same destination, right? Why not let us both go that, separate way, and then we can reminisce. We can tell each other what we saw on our path. I don't understand that. Especially when you pave the road. I see an open patch of grass. I know my neighbors used to hate that. Shortcut. But, and I want to emphasize this. I don't take my own opinions lightly. That's why I never have spoke up much. I've seen, I've observed, I've been aware of everything from a young age. Again, why was I being told I was slow but labeled sped? There was things that was wrong. The same way that I didn't notice these things until I was in this house is the same way that I didn't end up on that drug until I was in this house. And I'm still fighting with strength and every bit of consistency that I have in me, because it's here in this house. I started to uncover something, and in uncovering what I thought was, they dropped their mask because they had other secrets, and I read it in their face right when I asked them the wrong question. If everything that you thought you knew, or like such, your entire circle was not what you thought it was, you'd be maybe not losing it, because I don't lose it. I don't allow myself to give that much emotion for other people. I reserve that for myself, especially negative. But the moment that I asked that question to the person that I thought had no involvement, I quickly found out I opened up to the wrong one. And their response was over the top. It was insulting, it was aggressive, and it was dismissive, without even asking to see my receipts for what I had been saying. So, this day when this happened, I realized that I made a mistake by saying that before I could bring in help from the outside source or something, So I left. I calmly walked out of the house because I knew I was unsafe. And I was high. I went and I slept under a bridge that night almost. I walked all the way to this shady part of town when I called my mother, who I had been worried about all day. She was at work when this all went down, far away from the house I was in. I actually, I thought that she might be in danger because of me. So I was worried about her. When I finally was able to use a phone to try to get a hold of her that night, not only was she already back there, she was out driving around looking for me. But she wasn't driving. It was the other person. It was the other person that we're talking about. So they had all control. I hesitated. I actually hung up and had to call back to give her the information of where I was. When she got there, I wanted to try to talk to her by myself. When I told her she was in danger if she's not involved. And the whole time that we're talking, this person's in the background in the driver's seat in the car saying, "Come on, Mom, come on." And I said, "Sorry, Mom, I'm not going home with you. I don't feel safe." And I couldn't believe she went with her. Whenever I went to walk away from the car, the other person screamed, "Come on, David. Get the fuck in the car. You're losing it." Talk about a gaslight. I just stayed calm and I said, "I know I have complete control over what I'm doing." I tried to sleep under. Oh, wow. It's funny. It is right after she left. Now that they knew where I was. Right next to the bridge that we were at. I go to walk up the off-ramp. And some thuggish man pulls up in a van and asks me, "Come on over." Right here on the off-ramp, in the middle of the road. He's like, "Come on over, man. You like girls?" Almost like I like my peace of mind, and I kept walking up that on-ramp. So he had to go down, which might have saved me here. It's ironic. I didn't have any problems until just 10 minutes after they arrived. Anywho, I ended up going to the ER that night. I asked to be taken to a shelter or a behavior center or something. So I ended up doing that for multiple nights. But funny, I guess I didn't realize I made the statement that I thought that I was being poisoned before I left. So of course, this was the topic of conversation. Basically, what the real situation, which was a simple stepping out of a room into a living room and casually asking a question, but being stern, of course, because it's a serious matter, was described as me coming out completely batshit and bug-eyed attacking her and saying that other people in the house were the specific one who lets me live here, saying that she was trying to poison me or some shit. Well, when I did my piss test there at that behavior center, I had 3 extra drugs than the one that I knew that I was doing in my system. And I hadn't been nowhere but that house. So, whether or not I'm kind enough to let it mull over and let someone convince me maybe it's not that way, this is a true fact. Because they swear that the stuff that they were doing had none of those things in it. That's where there's conflict. I'm constantly reminded of it's wore off a little bit now. But I've been reminded multiple times I was shamed. The one who left and went to get sober because he was dismissed in a serious inquiry. And this person went and told my baby's mother that I was suicidal. So ever since that day that I chose to be sober, I have not been able to have my child either. Oh, the irony. Meanwhile, everybody in this house still does those things. Even if I'm okay with the fact they told me that I can't do it anymore, the fact that they had to tell me that is fucking wild. And the fact that they always brought up that I accused them of poisoning me. And I was trying to save face with that, but at the same time, when you're bringing it up, as a matter of fact, yes, there was 3 extra drugs in my system than the ones that I knew I was doing. I hadn't been nowhere and hadn't touched any drug but the ones that they fed me. I ate it, of course. But I'm just saying, where did it come from? So I'm still currently, you're always in rehabilitation, but I'm fighting that addiction still because it's in my face every day, and I wish that I could get myself into a new place, which I'm working on it, but not as fast as I would like. But it is what it is. My point is, don't see the cover and assume you know the contents of what's going on in the story. Because it's cool if nobody wants to check in on me. But it's not cool for nobody to check in on me, but take the word of somebody else who would say my name in callous with the same toxin on their tongue of the one that they judge me for. And they have no signs of remorse or wanting to change that, so that's them. But it's just when it gets to the inquiry of asking about me that I find that first part a little, yeah, right. Thanks for listening, guys. Let's get into this. It's a fight every day, but I show up, and I hope you guys do too. Be kind, be blessed, be you.